Welcome to the Twatface podcast. That's the world according to football and cheese experts. Evening, Phil.
Evening, Mike. That felt like a mouthful today.
Well, it's a mouthful of cheese.
If you were going to have a mouthful of cheese right now, what would you go for?
A nettle-wrapped Cornish yarg, because I'm as pretentious as fuck. Oh, by the way, there might be some swearing in this podcast.
And on that note, I'm still drinking gin. So is that pretentious? Not really.
It depends on who's made the gin.
Marks and Spencer.
Ooh, well, could be worse, could be Waitrose, but you know.
Fuck it, I'll have to go to Waitrose next time. So, Mike, you ready for a guest?
Go on then, this is going to be a surprise.
It's Mike. Hi, Mike. So, the reason why we brought Mike on is because out of these episodes we've done so far, Mike is the only person who's actually been to a real life World Cup.
Well, one match. Let's be clear here. I haven't been ensconced in the entire tournament.
It gives you more pedigree than the guests we've had so far. So I want to get your take on it. But before we do that, how did you end up deciding to go to South Africa in 2010?
Deciding is possibly not the right way of saying it. Back in 2010, I worked in the telecoms industry. And one of the big sponsors at that point was BlackBerry before they faded into obscurity. And they had got a lot of corporate tickets going. So, you know, all these looking daggers at the stadiums and going, it's just full of corporate tickets. Yes, I'm sorry. I was there on one of those jollies. And I made sure I was there before the beginning of the match. And I stayed there till the end of the match. And you would not have seen my seat empty at any point. So I was there for the football. But yeah, the company I was working for was assigned some tickets, and the first few people who were kind of supposed to go couldn't make it in the end. And then they said, Mike? And the answer was yes, before I even worked out how I was actually going to do it. But yes, and then they flew us out to Johannesburg, and we stayed overnight in Johannesburg, and we actually got to watch the game that was down in Port Elizabeth. Now, most people don't realise South Africa is actually huge. It is enormous. So we went back to Johannesburg Airport, got on a plane and flew down to Port Elizabeth, because there was no way you were going to do that as a road journey or a rail journey. We flew down to Port Elizabeth, had a spot of lunch, got into the stadium, watched the only game that England won in that entire damn tournament, and then they flew us back up to Johannesburg for a couple of extra days of a jolly before coming home again.
So you'd have grown up watching World Cups, I'm guessing. Was it always a thought that you would possibly ever want to attend one, or just a fortunate accident?
It was never one thing that I was trying to actively work towards in my life. It wasn't as though I had this big vision in my mind of I will go to a World Cup one day. It was just one of those happy accident things. I think most of my life is actually revolving around happy accidents. So yeah, I never worked towards it, but it was a real privilege and an absolute joy to be able to do it at the time.
So when you landed and you first got there, what struck you in South Africa? Did you think, oh, I'm actually at a World Cup, or would you have not even realised there were one going on? What's the feeling like when you got there?
Johannesburg Airport was decked out in all sorts of FIFA broadcast materials and so forth. So you were walking past massive signs of welcome to South Africa, the 2010 World Cup and everything like that. So they had fully decked it out, ready for it. So yeah, it was quite a long flight down there as well. I think it was something like a 10-hour flight to get down there. But same time zone.
Yeah, you just go down.
You're just heading straight south. So yeah, it was unusual in terms of you're going abroad, but you're not actually changing time zones. But yeah, they were really pushing the agenda of the World Cup when you landed. So it was you were immediately ensconced in it.
And what was the atmosphere like when you got to Port Elizabeth? What was it buzzing? Did you catch much of the vibes being a corporate dude?
Yeah, no, it was absolutely chock full of the vibe, because obviously when we got down to Port Elizabeth, it was match day. So there was the huge stadium, a beautiful stadium that they built for it. And the entire town was just given over to this. There were fans everywhere. And it was a really sort of welcoming vibe. It was busy. If you didn't have a reservation, you weren't going to fucking eat. You know, it was that sort of thing. We managed to get elbow room at the bar beforehand to get some drinks in. So yeah, it was everything that if you pictured in your mind what you would want your World Cup experience to be, that was it. They'd actually delivered on that, and I can't fault them for it.
And is it true, Mike, that you invented the Vuvuzela?
No, did not invent it, but did buy one and learned how to play it. Well, play is perhaps a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, we the hometown echoed to the sound of imported vuvuzela when I returned from South Africa.
Oh, did the football feel secondary to what was going on around you? I can imagine you could just become ensconced in all this with all the fans and the fun, really.
Well, I mean, the whole trip was built around the fact that we were going to see a game. So, you know, that was the build up to it and the whole experience of the day and everything like that. But then they left us there for a couple more days just to sort of unwind, enjoy the break and everything like that. They took us to a national game reserve, and we got on one of the open top buses and drove around this national game reserve and saw some of the wildlife and stuff like that on one of the days. So yeah, when I say it was everything you could possibly want from a trip to South Africa all in one go, absolutely, that was it.
And what did it feel like watching England on that game day? Because I know you said to me before you saw like Beckham sat next to Fabio Capello, and it just feel unreal seeing all these, well, the best players England had to offer at the time.
Yeah, and now bear in mind that where we were in the stadium, that most of these things is I can see a haircut down there and that's about it. Oh, that must be Beckham. You know, oh, look, there's one in a suit. That'll be Capello then. You didn't tend to see them. You weren't up close and personal with them. That's definitely not it. But you were able to get more of a feel for the game as well, because you weren't looking where you were shown. You were looking anywhere you chose when you were in that stadium. So you could watch all the off the ball stuff, see what was going on. And invariably you miss loads as well until they play on a replay on the big screen. Because one thing you can certainly say about professional players is they are an entirely different level watching them live compared to what you think they are when you watch them remotely on a TV. You just don't get the honest sort of feeling of just how much physicality there is, the speed, the skill, everything, until you actually see it live like that, and you know you're watching the best players in the world. You don't get the appreciation for just how damn good they are.
So does seeing the World Cup now on TV feel differently because of those experiences?
Watching the only game that England won in the tournament means that I have an inflated sense of this is what we should always see. And that's obviously leads to a considerable amount of disappointment. But you see a whole new swathe of players come in, and you hope that they're going to be up to the standard of the old guard that are on the way out that have performed so well over the years. And in the back of your mind, you know they're not just going to perform as well, they're actually going to be another level up. They have to be, because each successive generation gets better than the previous one. So you just hope they're developing not just more than their predecessors, but more than their contemporaries as well. You want them one step ahead of everybody around them. And I don't know if the movement to the hugely professional focused player might be a slight loss, because you lose the passion players who play with guts and heart and nothing else. Okay, they've got a bit of skill, they've got a bit of stamina and blah, 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 but they are pure heart players. And then you move from those and you just go to technical players. Do they have the same heart? And sometimes it feels that they don't. And if they are losing that, that's the biggest tragedy of all.
So, what's your strongest memory of that World Cup visit? It doesn't have to have anything to do with football, just your biggest memory of that trip, really.
We were all in the foyer of the hotel waiting for our transfer to pick us up and take us back to the airport to come away. And the final game that England were playing was actually on the TV for us to watch. And that was the one where Lampard scored. It bottom of the crossbar, bounced into the goal by a good foot, and due to the spin on it, bounced back out, and it wasn't given. And we were all there. We were all watching it, and we were absolutely gutted. And that feeling of crushing defeat right at the last moment as we were leaving. But I can't leave it on a downer, because there was also the absolutely brilliant, and I've told the story so many times, of the plane ride back from Port Elizabeth back up to Johannesburg on the night of the game. And we were joined on the aircraft by Baddiel and Skinner. They were the last two to get on the plane. They had to walk all the way from the door at the front to their seats at the back. And as they walked down, they were getting Three Lions sung at them all the way down. And you could tell by the look on their faces, they were absolutely loving it. They knew it was coming. They weren't going to be able to avoid it, but yet they were just soaking it all in, because we won a game. So we were all feeling really, really good about it. And that was a fabulous sort of feeling to come away with as well.
Well, thank you, Mike. Very jealous that you've been to a World Cup. I would say I'd really want to go, but I'm glad you didn't end up going to Qatar.
Well, yes, that wouldn't have been my first choice if I had to go to one. So, yes, South Africa, of course, they've had their fair share of political problems through the years, but by the time 2010 rolled round, those had pretty much all been ironed out. So nowhere is perfect, but we weren't going into a political nightmare when we went down there, thank goodness.
Absolutely. So the podcast, I'm going to give us a player to watch this tournament, Mike.
Let's hear it.
And it's not going to be your Messi's, it's not going to be your Ronaldo's. I was thinking a bit more low key.
Low key, closer to home, perhaps.
Closer to home, sir. I'm a Sheffield Wednesday supporter. Do you know how many?
Nobody would have guessed.
Do you know how many Sheffield Wednesday players are in the World Cup, Mike?
I've got a feeling you're about to tell me.
One. And his name is Jan Valery. And we've had a tough season at Hillsborough. We've not won many games this year. And we've had to have a change of owner. It's been quite miserable. But we've got a player called Jan Valery. And he's actually a French-born right-back who came through Southampton's academy. But he's representing Tunisia in this World Cup.
Oh, fabulous.
So I think Tunisia, they've done really well. They've qualified for lots of World Cups in this modern era. And I think the Tunisia story is quite interesting. One of Africa's most successful and consistent nations. Not one of their continent's giants, obviously. Even Egypt, you've got the famous Mo Salah. I think people, when they think of African football, go Morocco, Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana. Tunisia are different. I think it's fair to say they're rarely spectacular, rarely going to be favourites, and they're probably not full of superstars if you get your Panini sticker book out. But I'm pushing for us to follow Jan Valery through the tournament.
Are we allowed to sing it?
If we're not singing Valery, then I'd be disappointed.
Why don't you come on over, Jan Valery?
I mean, Valery is not even Tunisia's poster boy. He's not the captain. He's not the headline player. But you know what? It's tournament football, and he's there.
Yeah.
And we're going to stalk him, Mike.
Let's do that. See how he gets on. Hope he gets plenty of game time.
He played 90 minutes in the World Cup warm-up this week. So hopefully his first choice there. So, genuine Owls connection. And
That's great.
do you think he's into spying since he learnt his trade at Southampton?
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's a poor outcome, isn't it? But yes.
So we'll keep you updated on the Tunisian right back that is Jan Valery.
Brilliant. Look forward to it.
So then, Mike, thank you for telling us about the World Cup experience.
You're welcome.
The next time we convene, there may be the start of a World Cup.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Take care, Phil.
See you later, Mike.
Bye.
Bye.